Hey, it's the Grotto Orlop Broadcasting Network. It's episode 312. Yeah, what the fuck month is this? March the 3rd, 2021 AD in the year of our Lord. So, with no further ado, here is the amazing, incomparable Grotto Orlov. Thank you very much. Oscar the Magical Trash Goblin is correct. It's time for a new episode of the Grotto Orlov Show. Spent about 30 minutes trying to figure out a YouTube anomaly. And that is, I've been getting all these great comments on my page, and sometimes they don't show up under the video. So I didn't know what is going on, and ultimately what I figured out is that the comments that don't appear under the video have a curse word in them, like a shitload, or the word crap, or I think Man Bear Pig on the last video wrote something like, who wouldn't want a bunch of brain damaged Grotto, I don't know. It's just so anything that's perceived by the YouTube artificial intelligence as potentially insulting, they won't let the comments show up. I see the comment, I type that I love it, and I reply to it, and then it'll show two comments, their comment and my response. Then someone else will comment and use a curse word. I'll respond to it. So I have 4 comments, but none show. And the way I tested it is I just went on my wife's YouTube account and I typed "great," and then that one showed up. So it's really annoying because people think that you didn't like their comment or you were insulted by their comment and you deleted it. I don't delete anyone's comments except for those bots that sometimes show up and they say, "I need a boyfriend. You are so great." You know, and then there's a little link to their porn site. I'll delete that. I really should report it too, but I just delete it. But I have never deleted any of your comments. So, ever. So, yeah, even insulting comments back when I showed one of the jukeboxes and someone wrote, "This is a terrible video, your jukebox runs too slow and you should focus more on it," not, you know. Yeah, I don't delete comments. So, I don't know what to say. It's annoying. Just and if you typed in a comment on that last video, just try to remember what it was and type it again and just leave out what they may perceive as threatening, abusive language that may hurt someone's feelings or something, and I'm sure it'll pop up. Okay, well, so since we last met, I brought this light in from the other room because it looked like the lighting was just way too damn soft and everything, and I didn't like that, and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, I kind of gave up on organizing the Bronze Age and to current day comics and just shoved all the boxes over here because I was sick and tired of not being able to walk in this room. But then, you know, all the comics are over here, out of sight, out of mind, and then I wind up cranking out 6 or 7 episodes that don't even show any comics, and I may wind up losing a lot of the people that are here strictly for comic book content. But anyway, so let's look at some comics here. This looks like a box that has not been touched much. Let's see what's in it. Oh, there's this Shiza. Damn, it's up too high for me to look at. Yeah, this YouTube stuff's been driving me crazy. This is my prop hand. I gotta figure out how to use this. Start my video like this. Hey guys, how you doing? Oh my gosh, I don't know, guys. What will I... Shit. God damn, it's tearing. That's not good. What will I do? Yeah, this is actually a movie prop. And it's very... I don't know what this was used for. This was given to me by a friend that worked in Hollywood on special effects. And what movie this was from, I don't know. You gotta be careful, this thing's very delicate. Yeah, see, this is movie magic, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe you know what movie this is from. Look up Tom Ranoni on the Internet Movie Database. He's an old friend of mine. He passed away a few years ago. Look what movies he worked on, and maybe you can figure out what this was from. It's a whole arm. Well, probably shouldn't be playing with that arm too much because it's getting old. Getting old, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. What is this thing? Overstreet Comics Monthly, August of 1994. Boy, those are the good old days, the 1990s, right? This is like a monthly price guide. Yeah, 1990s was to me, an extremely depressing time where things look like that. Superheroes with ponytails, I think not. I don't know. Why do I even own this? Oh well. Maybe it's for an article about him, because I love him. Okay. Oh, this box is backwards. Of course. What do we got here?
Presented by Mattel Toy Makers. You can tell they're Mattel. They're swell.
Let's take a look here. Let's pull out a random section of comics, see what we got. Oh, this is one of those infamous Marvel Knights comics. This is Marvel attempting to create R-rated comic books. And they give you a sense of time. This is back the 2003 Hulk, where he grew gigantic. The more angry he got, the bigger he got, to the point where he was like bigger than King Kong. And the whole movie was about how Bruce Banner was abused as a young child or something. It was all very sensitive, you know. That's kind of shitty artwork there, I must say. Boy is the Punisher's, the eye sockets on that skeleton skull on his chest are gigantic in this comic. Yes, why? Elektra's holding a human heart, so we know it's mature and sophisticated content, ladies and gentlemen. What kind of damn? Oh. Oh, well, look, someone's sitting on a toilet with their head gone. So, again, more mature, sophisticated stuff. Yeah, man, it doesn't even look like a comic book to me. I don't even know I own that. What is this shit? The End of Marvel, 1 of 6. You know, I don't know. Is this, I look through things and wonder, why did I buy them? There must have been some reason. This looks like maybe it's interesting. I mean, it's interesting enough for me to buy one issue, but I don't have the other 5 of the series. So you can tell me, is it worth... Oh, actually, maybe I do. Here's 2 of 6. But then I don't have the last 4. And lots of big giant panels. Help you to read that comic book in probably less than a minute and a half. Marvel Milestone Edition. Yeah, these ones actually reprint the ads. They're on real slick paper. This is different from the ones that are coming out now that are called... what are the ones coming out now called? They're only $1, so they're really a great deal. But see, it even reprints this wonderful 1972 cartoon ad for the NBC Saturday morning cartoons. Wow. Yeah. Cool. And this one is reprinting the first Blade, which is actually... I have most of the Tomb of Dracula's. I just don't have the very first Blade. Then they had this Marvel movie special there for a while. During the summer of Orca, that big hit movie that everyone remembers. You know, someone thought, well, Jaws was a big hit. Well, killer whales are even bigger. Let's make a killer whale movie. And nobody went to see it. Oh, because it was Dino De Laurentiis. And his next film, of course, would be the spectacularly abysmal King Kong. But this was an adaptation of The Island of Dr. Moreau, which was the 1970... Was it 76 or 77? It was somewhere around there. Came out when I was in 6th grade. But yeah, it was better when it's an H.G. Wells book. You know, probably the best adaptation is going to be Island of Lost Souls, right? And then they adapted Time Bandits, which is a movie that's been completely forgotten. That came out, man, was it really 1980? Was it that far back? It just seems like just yesterday I was at the Forum Mall watching this movie, and it had damn, this artwork is great. Is this done by... Oh man, I think it is. Hold on. The artwork is very good in this. Very unusual. John Romita, art director. David Lloyd, John Stokes, artist. Okay. I don't know these artists. At first I thought it might be Maurice Severin doing the art. The art has, it almost, see there, it looks like EC Mad art. Now, yeah, the art is very distinctive. These might be, I'm wondering if these are British artists. And I'm also wondering, maybe they're 2000 AD artists. And I bet that, because this was a Terry Gilliam movie. Terry Gilliam is real into comic art. You know, he started, he was the guy that did all the art in the animation in Monty Python's Flying Circus. So I bet he decided who was going to do the art for his the adaptation of his movie, because this very much has a Will Elder influence on the art, and that's something Terry Gilliam would have known about, because you know he worked with Harvey Kurtzman in the 60s. That's how he got his start. So I could look up David Lloyd and John Stokes if I had my wife's tablet or my laptop open and see who they are. But I'm betting they're British artists, and that John Romita came in as the art director to make sure the art was up to Marvel standards or whatever. So yeah, this is a good movie. As John Cleese, Sean Connery, Shelley Duvall, Ian Holm, Michael Palin. Yeah, produced and directed by Terry Gilliam. And it was financed by George Harrison with his Beatle money. And then their next one, well, in these Marvel movie specials, they did this James Bond movie, For Your Eyes Only, which is one of the Roger Moore James Bond movies. But what's always surprised me, as big as James Bond was in the 60s, why was there never a James Bond comic book in the 60s? I mean, I know there was an adaptation of Dr. No and Showcase, DC's Showcase, from the very early 60s, but I don't know. Here's Marvel Mystery Comics #1, which was done in the, when was this done? It's got, you know, reprints of Golden Age stuff. It really is beautiful looking. And this came out man, 1999. Well, you can't say nothing good came out of the 90s. That's sure an ugly illustration. Hulk with a milk mustache. They must have done at least 2 of these. Commemorative edition. I mean, they'd already tried to restore the art for the, you know, for the hardcover, deluxe hardcover Marvel Masterworks kind of editions. So I guess doing these editions, it was didn't cost much more money.
The greatest music of all time, here on Radio Grotto.
Yeah, this is great stuff. There's Marvel Premiere #2, featuring the power of Warlock. See what else I can dig out of this box. Because everything's you know, I'll have some Marvel Premiere in here, but then there's probably some over here on this other box. And what I'm trying to do is get them all together and alright, let's look at these. Here's Marvel Premiere #3. Ooh, I'm getting a phone call and it says spam risk. I don't know anyone named Spam Risk, but they live in the United States. Have you ever gotten a phone call and it says Spam Risk? That's cool. Yeah. Spam Risk. I should change my name legally to Spam Risk. This is number 6. So 4 and 5, I bet I have them, and I bet they're in a box over here. Oh, I got 2 number 8s. You know, I really need to sell these duplicate issues to make money. See, this one's in better condition. So I could easily probably, sell this one. It's perfectly okay, readable. It just got a little damage there in the corner. I mean, do you guys think I should get rid of some of the duplicates? And what would be the best way to put them on eBay, or to have people just maybe underneath the video, just maybe I could show a comic, put it together an episode where I show a bunch of comics that I'm going to get rid of, and then you could kind of make offers down below or something. I don't know. I've never really sold any comics ever. And the reason I have duplicate issues is usually just complete accident. But I need to make a little extra money because these are hard times. You know that stimulus, $1,400. It was $2,000, but the stimulus sure has. They sure have kind of forgotten about that now. Here, see, I have 2 copies of number 11 as well. And then I have 2 copies of 12. How about that? No. Oh, I have 3 copies of 12. Completely by accident. And then I have 2 copies of 13. It's just because I love Frank Brunner, or Bruner. Is it Brunner or Bruner? I've never heard anyone say the name, ever. As a kid, I always pronounced it Brunner, so it's stuck in my mind. But now I look at it now with the mind of a 55-year-old and think, well, it's probably German. It's probably Brunner. Brunner. See, I've got 3. See, I got 3 copies of it. I probably should be trying to make some extra money, because that will alleviate a little pressure here. What else do I have here? Oh, shameful. Then I have a bunch of comics that are not bagged and boarded. And when that will happen, there's no telling, because of finances. I can't even afford to buy bags and boards, much less new comics. Here's Marvel Premiere number 30. Around this time, about the time of the transition from 25 cents to 30 cents, Kirby was doing a lot of Marvel covers. Not the interiors, but the covers. Yeah. Well, Liberty Legion, kind of a spinoff from the Invaders. And then You've got Star Wars influence stuff. Monarch Star Stalker. Star Stalker is far enough removed from Skywalker that it's not actionable, I suppose. Oh yeah, I remember when Kirby did 2001: A Space Odyssey. Yeah, this is the stuff that dreams are made of. Someone just commented, I have that famous Monsters magazine at the beginning. Robert Harrison 2.0. Now that comment will probably post because he didn't use any curse words. I don't mind the curse words. And again, if you have any comments that have not appeared after you type them under my videos, know that I did not get pissed at you and delete them. And I wasn't offended by them. Just retype it, and it's just like the YouTube thing. It's just the censors are too they're trying to keep people's feelings from being hurt in the YouTube community. Yeah, this is this damn Howard Chaykin guy. Yeah. Ooh, look at this. The Mark of Cain. Every show we watch, somebody's got the Mark of Cain. We were watching Supernatural. That's been my wife's favorite show for years. So we finally, watched the final episode, but there's people walking around, I've got the Mark of Cain, so I cannot die. And we're watching Sabrina, and then somebody's got the Mark of Cain, and they can't die. It's just so... Yeah, this Sabrina show is pretty damn twisted. They finally had an angel appear in the 3rd season that confirms, okay, there is a God in this universe, And the angel's like some asshole that uses the pronoun they for the... Oh, Marie Severin. We don't want to talk about pronouns. That's too controversial. Gratu's pronoun is it. Refer to Gratu as it.
The greatest music of all time.
It or He-Man. Those are my pronouns. That's one of the things that got Gina Gershon in trouble. Got her canceled. Ooh, look, $6 Million Man stuff. It's the 3D Man, ladies and gentlemen. So you got... It's a superhero from the 1950s. Ooh, I need to send off to this ad. You can earn extra money. This book, damn, that light's bright. Perhaps if I diffuse it a bit. Oh yeah, 3D Man. Yeah, 3D Man. Something else. Ooh, now this was cool. I remember getting this in the original location of Lone Star Comics. Now this was something I bought, and I thought, this is going to be worth a lot of money someday. People are going to prize this. This is going to be one of the classics of all time that people are always going to remember. Weird World. And of course, nobody remembers it. But goddamn. For those who thrilled to J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, an all-new adventure into epic fantasy. Yeah. But the thing about it, it's Mike Plug and Alex Nino doing a Lord of the Rings kind of adventure thing. And the artwork is gorgeous. It looks like right about this time the movie Wizards came out. And the first few minutes of Wizards, just, they don't bother really to animate it. They just show Mike Ploog's production art. It was so beautiful, they just kind of show that to you while they're talking about how the world got to the point where the cartoon starts. And this looks like that art that at the beginning of Wizards. You know, and I'm sure that Richard and Wendy Peeney's Elf Quest was out at that point, and that probably influenced it too. It's just, this artwork's so great. This is my childhood copy. I guess age 12 would be childhood. I think so. Yeah. I definitely need to get this bagged and bordered, for crying out loud. There's another ad for Orca, that hit film that everyone remembers. Actually, I never saw it. Has anyone seen Orca? And then, was it only one? I guess it only was one issue, but then after that, they a higher quality paper. They put out several magazines with really high quality paper of Weird World, but it was called Warriors of the Shadow Realm, or had some name like that. They didn't call it Weird World. But the stories continue in a premium Marvel magazine.
They got ranges, heaters, power tools, they got TV, toasters, waiting pools, they got hi-fi hammers, hoses, brakes, they got all the very finest makes.
Now, Man, Bear, Pig, you've got to get these Hulk magazines. They're great. Because you've got a world-class Hulk collection. Far better than I've got. But my collection's not really world-class in any way. I've just been doing it for a lot of years. And there's another issue of Torpedo. I don't know if they ever brought this character back. Walkie-talkies were fun. I still sometimes call my cell phone a walkie-talkie because it's funny. Because really where I got it from was the little guy, Beetlejuice, on Howard Stern. He used to say, "Call me on my walkie-talkie." I thought, that's great. Call your cell phone a walkie-talkie. This I remember being pretty good. That my 12-year-old self is somehow subconsciously telling me at my decrepit age of today that this was good. And so it was supposed to be you know, as you can kind of see, like a Star Trek kind of thing. But it never just never took off. It's like a shower head. You know, I don't know. Was it good? I might be thinking of a DC one that was pretty good around that time. Now, as a kid, I thought it was I thought it was Tigra. Yeah, Tigra. But now it's obvious that it's got to be Tigra. But I don't know why I thought it was Tigra. I think that's what I thought. Anyway, any issue with her, I'm going to probably have multiple copies of, because, I mean, there's a Hammer movie, Vampire Circus, where they're with a tiger girl. Yeah, great stuff. I think there's a new issue of Iron Man. I don't know if it's her or what character, some female character, is supposed to be lecturing Tony Stark in his hospital bed about his privilege You know, and that's the kind of woke shit they put in the Marvel comics today. I need to probably get out and sell grit. Maybe I could become a grit salesman to make some extra money. Yeah, and if you thought that the TNA stuff started in the 90s, I guess it was going on even back then. Oh, what a great splash page that is. And here's Paladin. But not the Paladin from Have Gun Will Travel. Have Gun Will Travel started as a radio show. You know, I wonder if any of these characters ever been brought back. The Jack Off guy. No, the Jack of Hearts. The Jack of Hearts. Spider-Man toys. Yeah. Oh, Man Wolf. There's flashing news at the top of my phone that said Trump will not run with Pence again. And I was like, oh yeah, no shit, Sherlock. I think that's pretty obvious. What Trump needs to do, if he runs next time, is run with the Florida Governor DeSantis. That guy is amazing. He's incredible. Florida is also one of the states doing away with the masks. So, this movie should be coming out pretty soon, right? Shang-Chi. I told you about Shang-Chi in a previous video. I had a Vietnamese student, and he came up to me and says, I got to get a Shang-Chi costume for Halloween. I want to be Shang-Chi. And I said, how do you know about that Marvel comic book? That's so obscure to someone that is a young person today. And he says, well, what do you mean Marvel comic book? Shang-Chi is, and he's explaining in his culture, he was from Vietnam, that was a hopping vampire. And I've seen those Chinese horror movies where the vampires hop around. They hop like kangaroos. So, whatever guy created Shang-Chi for Marvel Comics knew what Shang-Chi meant, and oh well. So that's what I know. I know that Shang-Chi has a meaning to people in Chinese and Vietnamese culture. Okay, The Astonishing Ant-Man. I don't know if any of these have any value or if they're key issues. What the hell? I'm just looking at that ad there. Well, issue 49 is the Falcon. And coming this Christmas to a theater near you is the return of Star Trek. The Robert Wise Star Trek The Motion Picture. Yeah, Falcon. And here's Alice Cooper. And this is also done to mimic E.C. Mad. And you see the EC influence even extends to the front cover. Alice Cooper, whatever you think of his music, is completely one of us. My friend that gave me that hand, that arm, well, it's a long story. I need to tell you this story because I watched some of my old videos and I realized, like some of those room videos, I'm watching them and I start on a story and then I get distracted by some other thing and start talking about that and I never finish the story. Then I realized I got to go back and do that. And then I was showing the Batmobiles back behind me, and I kind of moved quickly across them, and someone commented down below, it's like, you sure did move past all that Batman stuff really quickly. And I said, yeah, sorry, I realized when I was going over them, I had not had a chance to dust them. So I was kind of moving quickly so I wouldn't make people think, boy, I'm a slob, although that's obvious. So I realized, I need to go back and refilm those Batmobiles. Obviously, this is Marvel's answer to Jonah Hex. Caleb Hammer. So I don't know if any of these, like I said, any of these characters, they've ever gone back and see it's completely spaghetti western influenced. As was Jonah Hex. Boy, they missed an opportunity. I never watched that Jonah Hex movie that DC put out. You know, I heard it was really bad. Here's another Howard Chaykin hero. But, or is it, yeah. During this time, Howard Chaykin was working on American Flag, which was a more adult kind of thing. Look at that. Look at that guy, man. Oh, then, they put out Doctor Who. Prior to this, I'd only read a little bit about Doctor Who and some books I had that were about monsters and aliens, but they showed the Daleks and things. See, they have to have a 2-page spread to explain to Marvel fans who Doctor Who was, because Doctor Who was not on American television then. I don't think, maybe in a few markets, but oh, and then you can tell this is just a reprint of British comics. It doesn't look like Marvel art at all. See? So, whatever. Doctor Who. Anyway, I've never really watched Doctor Who. When they finally brought it over to the States and I saw it, boy, this eye's really closed. I look like a fucking wreck. This is that Trump speech from the other day, which was at the CPAC. This is when he's walking out on stage. I was recording a bunch of music for my Gratu Orlov channel, and then Trump was about to walk out, so I just recorded his whole speech in between songs on my radio station. So, and then YouTube starts shutting people down and giving them strikes for having this, or shutting down people's channels for putting Trump's speech up. So, I probably should turn that down a little bit. I hate this song, but it's the song he always plays when he walks out on stage. What was I gonna say? Okay. I'll turn this down a little bit. Because maybe Trump playing in the background will trigger some artificial intelligence bot. This old friend of mine, I haven't seen him in years, is one of the leading AI people in the world. And he with some other people he is the main guy behind this robot named Sophia that is apparently just put out a hit single or something. I don't know. I think that's not a good thing for humanity, these artificial intelligence robots. But so anyway, when they finally brought Doctor Who to the United States, and I looked at it, and it looked like a soap opera. It was very, I just couldn't get into it. But I understand if you actually sit down and watch it, the writing is phenomenal, on par with Star Trek. It's really great. I just never have gotten into this show that's been around for generations in England. The thing about British shows that's so weird, inside it's shot on videotape. Then they walk out they open the door, they go outside, and all of a sudden it's shot on film. And I've always found that jarring in British shows, the way they go from film to videotape, a completely different look. And I was told that's because of the unions. The people that shot on film demanded that a certain amount of every show be shot on films, so no one was out of business. The people that ran the film cameras weren't out of business when things went over to videotape in late 60s, early 70s. So that's what I hear. I don't know. It just looks cheap to me, and I can't get past it. It's just like if a comic book has bad art, I can't get past that to realize that, it's really well written. The art's got to be good to grab me first, and then I can enjoy and luxuriate in the great writing. Because it's such a visual medium, I can't abide bad art. Okay, so I was showing you a lobby card of Blood Feast on the stairs. And I was about to tell you the story. The guy that gave me that prop arm from whatever movie that came from. In college, he was studying film. I was studying advertising. He was making movies in the film school, which is in the Department of Art, the local university. And I was studying advertising. I was studying business, but then I wound up getting a 30 on an accounting test. I just cannot handle numbers. So I changed my major to advertising. Then later I went back for education, but it doesn't matter. So, looking in the local campus newspaper, I saw that when I first met my friend, the first thing we did is we watched Blood Feast in his parents' living room on VHS. I had never seen it. A bunch of us had never seen it, but we watched Blood Feast, and I only heard about it in the Monster Times newspaper, and it was so funny, unintentionally, and so unbelievably bloody for a movie made in 1962 that it was just one of those great things. Because in the 80s, that's when I was reading a comment that appeared at the top of my screen. It was nothing. The 80s VHS. Everyone had a VHS player, and all these video stores opened on every corner. And then you'd go to different video stores, and they would have different movies that were like unbelievably rare. And there was one store on Alpha Road in Dallas, way over in Dallas, and they had all the Herschel Gordon Lewis movies. They had all the Russ Meyer movies. They had all of this stuff that no one else had. Whoever was ordering the movies there was getting the really good stuff. And so we drive over there, rent it, bring it home, make copies for, I'd make a copy for myself and several of my friends. Then we'd return it. And we'd have several, 2 or 3 VCRs hooked up together to make copies. That's how things were done back then. Because you couldn't buy the actual movie because they were $100. So you made copies, and then you owned the movie for the price of rental. So anyway, I opened the campus newspaper and saw Herschel Gordon Lewis was going to speak at the School of Advertising. He was going to give a lecture about direct mail marketing. Because by that point, Herschel Gordon Lewis had gotten out of the movie business, the exploitation business, making nudie movies and gore movies, and had gotten into sending all the junk mail that you receive. That's where he was making his money, sending junk mail to people, promoting people. Someone liked my reply. Thank you. Okay, so anyway, I must have said thank you to someone, and someone liked that I said thank you on YouTube. So anyway, I called my friend and said, "Hey, Herschel Gordon Lewis, the guy that made Blood Feast and 2000 Maniacs, he's going to talk at the School of Advertising." He said, "That's incredible." So, we went to see him talk, and my friend spoke with him, about his movies, which he was not there to promote his movies, believe me. And Herschel Gordon Lewis flew back at a later date to my friend's house, his family's house, to talk about possibly collaborating on a horror movie with my friend directing it, and then Herschel Gordon Lewis would co-direct or be the narrator. So I helped my friend write a script for a parody of, that Faces of Death horrible series of VHS movies, just that showed horrible, horrible imagery. So we thought we'd do a parody of that, and it was going to be called Herschel Gordon Lewis's Faces of Pain and Dismemberment. Then later we changed it to I think they saved Elvis's brain. Anyway, we wrote this script that was just insane, just a bunch of skits, like Kentucky Fried Movie kind of, National Lampoon kind of humor. And then the idea was going to get a bunch of celebrities to appear in different skits, and all that. And Herschel Gordon Lewis was going to be like the doctor that narrates the whole movie, because in that Faces of Death they had this guy, Doctor, I forget his name. They had some fake doctor hosting it. So so we wrote the script, and it was pretty funny. And it actually got optioned by Roger Corman's studio. They actually bought an option on it. But anyway, the movie was never made. But my friend had lined up all of these people that he had made contact with to be in it. And since it was never made, but ultimately my friend shot a video for the Ramones when the Ramones they did a cover version of Substitute, the song by The Who. And in that video, he put so many little cameos, so many little appearances by people from different horror movies and stuff, that was pretty much a lot of the people that would have been in that Faces of Death parody, and which never got made. But my friend befriended all these people in Hollywood, from Lemmy of Motorhead to the Cramps to... Oh, and the whole story got started because of that Alice Cooper comic. My friend found him in an airport and started talking to him about making a movie with Herschel Gordon Lewis, and Alice Cooper said, "Herschel Gordon Lewis." He says, "Here," and he devoted his complete rapt attention to my friend, this college-age friend of mine back in the 80s. And totally wanted to be in the movie. So Alice Cooper's completely into movies and comics, and so I'm sure that he had a say in his Marvel comic looking like an EC comic. He's just, my whole point is he's a cool guy. And I never showed it in the hallway, at least not in this last room tour. I have one sheet to 2000 Maniacs, and it says, "To Kenneth, a really great script writer, Herschel Gordon Lewis." And so I didn't show you that. And that's the story behind the inscription by Herschel Gordon Lewis. I never showed you that. And then I've got a Attack of the Crab Monsters poster that I bought for my friend down in the living room, framed. And it's signed by Roger Corman, because my friend saw him in a liquor store parking lot in LA and happened to have an Attack of the Crab Monsters poster in the back seat of his car, and brought it out and had him sign it right there in the liquor store parking lot. And he later sold it to me. He sold me a lot of stuff when he was in times of low cash. He didn't sell it to me cheap, though. But anyway, my friend's passed away, and so I don't know if those stories are even interesting. And here's this really great Marvel's comic, but you know what this is. Everyone's got that, I'm assuming. Alright, what else we got? Lots of Marvel Spotlight, Son of Satan. Well, that never went up. That's never going to go up in value because the TV show debut of the Son of Satan looked unwatchable. It's just amazing how many. But it sounded like what they're doing in the show is they're going to make him the son of some serial killer. And maybe in the show it'll turn out the serial killer is Satan. I don't know. This was kind of cool. In the 70s, they finally did an adaptation of the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, which is, this came out after the Golden Voyage of Sinbad. At least the adaptation did. But, you know, Seventh Voyage of Sinbad is a late 50s movie. Damn, I just love the Sinbad movies. I love Ray Harryhausen. Yeah. Then Marvel Spotlight, The Scarecrow. I guess this is probably valuable because they're making a TV show. Of course, if it's not a good show, it's that may not go up in value. But anyway, it's kind of Marvel's answer to Batman. But whenever you say that, people say, that's not true. He's not like Batman at all. I don't know. I like Moon Knight. Marvel Spotlight on the real Marvel, Captain Marvel. I don't know what they're doing now. Ms. Marvel became Captain Marvel, and then there's all these other... don't really care. I don't give a shit. Dragon Lord, which looks like a 1960s Charlton Steve Ditko monster comic. Just like Steve Ditko came back to Marvel, but I guess they could never twist his arm enough to actually get him to do a Spider-Man story. Wouldn't that have been great? If they should have just... I don't think they could have paid him enough because he had all of that Ayn Rand philosophical bent that he was just not going to bend on that. He did not like that. Here's Star-Lord. Yes, indeed. Star-Lord. Who would have ever dreamed that he would become a character in a movie? Here's more Steve Ditko stuff. Man, this character's pretty cool looking. Captain Universe. What happened to her? I'd rather see her than this Captain Marvel. The Captain Marvel that taught Nick Fury how to be tough back in the 1990s, according to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Marvel Spotlight. Okay, so there were two. There must have been 2 volumes of Marvel Spotlight. They started it over again. Oh, you know, the very first, when Lone Star Comics first opened in the summer of 77, the very first time I went into a comic book store, the summer of 77, Lone Star Comics was the size of this room. Actually, probably a little smaller. Maybe a little smaller than this room. The first Lone Star Comics location. I remember I bought this that day. Marvel Super Action. And it looks like it's brand new. It's reprints from the 50s. You know, I thought this was really cool. I loved it. I love the 50s art. So, the first time I went into a comic book store, comics were 35 cents. So prior to that, all the comics I've got were bought, you know, from racks and 7-Elevens or from the PX or, you know, whatever stores. This is reprints, Marvel superheroes. Oh yeah. And you got Marvel Tales. What the hell is this? Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. Yeah. Plastic, man. Oh, plop. My collection of plop. You can see that in another video. Oh, what's this? Oh, yeah. This was cool. This Punisher miniseries. I really like this. I got all of those. Or do I? 1, 2, 3. Well, I've got 3 of 5 of them. How about that? Oh. There's some stuff we gotta pull out. Okay. Puntella Prim, the sexy super spy. And here's number 5. Nudist Martians invade the Earth. Yeah, what was this reprinted from? Oh, this is pretty extreme stuff, man. This is reprinted from men's magazines from the 60s, you know, but it's great art. But yeah, this is kind of what you're dealing with. So I need to put this with the Underground Comics. And possibly, what is this? Pulp Action from ACG. Okay. Oh, okay. This is literally stuff reprinted from ACG Comics, I guess. Well, that looks like that's from Charlton. Yeah, it's old reprints. It's cool stuff. Pulp Action. I guess I'll put that with the Undergrounds. It's not really an Underground. Put that down here. This is so definitively 90s. Purgatory. Oh, I just heard they're doing a Vampirella movie. So it's this is what you're dealing with. Chaos Comics. I think I have a Purgatory action figure, and you know, I bought, looks like, precisely 3 copies of Purgatory, and then I guess I realized it's just, I guess I realized it was just not really what I was looking for. But this was a good magazine. It's the size of a comic book, pure images. I think it was from, what was the name of this company? I think this is the company that put out the Betty Pages, which was a magazine about Betty Page. It was a little digest-sized magazine. I'm thinking this is Greg Theakston's company. Okay, so it's all about, this one's about the history of really the creation of Spider-Man. And it goes into all this heavy, detailed research. It's really a good read. It's really better than a lot of books. It shows early inspirations for, that was early version of the cover for Amazing Fantasy 15, and then it's got the original sketch art for the Silver Spider. You know, it's good stuff. So I would recommend Pure Images. I bet mycomicshop.com probably has this, I would think. Issue 2 is about the birth of Marvel Comics. 3 was a Monsters issue. Monster Mania 57. We gotta open this. I haven't looked at this in years. We're talking, I guess this is the 90s. Let me see. 91. Wow. 1991. Yeah, it's just all this monster art, and yeah, this is it's got some comics in it, but a Hammer article. This is about yeah, some reprints. It's good stuff. And then it looks like I don't have issue 4, but then issue 5 is Ren and Stimpy Part 1. Ren and Stimpy was an interesting thing. John Kricfalusi was always fighting with, what was it, Nickelodeon. He did this cartoon for Nickelodeon, and then I guess he wasn't making the cartoons quick enough, or he would put in some things that they thought were offensive, and they'd ask him to fix them, and it would just make him angry. And apparently he was very hard to get along with. So Nickelodeon figures, hey, we own these characters, we bought them, let's make our own cartoons without him. My problem is he did the voice of Ren the Chihuahua. So they got Billy West that was doing the voice of the cat, Stimpy, to recreate the voice of Ren. And then they shut out the creator of the show, John Kricfalusi. They had Billy West do both voices. And boy, was he pissed. And then later, I guess Nickelodeon stopped running the cartoon. He must have gotten the rights to his characters back. And he decided to kill them off in a spectacular way so they could never be shown again on children's television. So he made a DVD, like the uncensored Ren and Stimpy or something like that, and where he shows them rubbing girls' breasts and soaping them up in the shower. He shows Ren and Stimpy as gay lovers, and he does everything perverse he could possibly do to those characters so that they would be untouchable and ruined and never generate any money in the future for Nickelodeon for those episodes that he created for them. So, and but then he was never able to create anything else. He had this character George Liquor, and he thought this is going to be the greatest thing, and then, but it wasn't. But at the time, in the early 90s, it seemed like Ren and Stimpy was just the greatest thing. It was this perverse cartoon, and it used the library music from the 50s and 60s, this wholesome cartoon music, and it was nuts, and it was insane, and everyone loved it. But now everyone's forgotten about it. Marvel Spectacular, Marvel's Greatest Comics, Marvel Spectacular, Marvel Premiere. I'm putting the comics back in the box. I felt I had to do this emergency episode and show some comic books to show. Oh shit! I set my alarm off on my car. Yeah, this chair has got these rigid arms, and when I lean against it, I press a button and set up my alarm. Hopefully no one was walking down the street, just peaceably walking their dog, and all of a sudden my car's alarm goes off. Oh, very annoying. Marvel Knights. So, you know, when you save anything saved long enough, it's going to have some kind of interesting cultural value. Like, for instance, you know, you figure, well, I'll go to 7-Eleven and get a cup. See, you see right there, right about there, right above my thumbnail. 7-Eleven cups, when they used to get Slurpees in these little cups. Alright, so those have value now because they got Marvel characters or cartoon characters on them. But also, what's interesting about them is that the cups are this big, and you need to realize that back 40, 50 years ago, that was a big drink. Now a big drink is this big, but they were this big, and that's just how things have shifted culturally. So when you see those old cups, that's another thing you realize if you're thinking deeply enough about it. So, oh, here's another Liberty Legion comic. Did I show you that one? I don't know. Marvel Premiere, Marvel Knights. Oh, here's another one of these. Yeah. I think this is a really horrible one, as I recall. Marvel Knights. Yeah, this is the one where you're seeing it from inside someone's mouth as the Punisher is torturing a guy, you know, and he's pulling out. It's torture. This is just torture porn. The Punisher is pulling out this guy's teeth one by one and drilling, doing all this shit stuff to him. Stuff's falling. And then finally, you guys seen this comic? And then finally, he just puts this gun in his mouth and Um, so, you know, Buddy Saunders, the owner of Lone Star Comics, which is now mycomicshop.com, got mad at DC. Whenever that was that the 1980s, or when was that Lobo became a popular character in the Superman comics, and he was supposed to be this intergalactic, what was he, like a rapist or drug smuggler, or just, he was a gangster. And it was, he was kind of a biker in the Superman comics, but then they gave him his own comics where they went into great detail the horrible things that he did. And so Buddy Saunders was really upset that Superman is a children's comic. And then this character that appears in this children's comic also appears in other books where they show this very inappropriate content. And so he thought, well, there's going to come such a time that there's going to be a new witch hunt, and it's going to be really hard to defend this character's in this children's comic, and then the same characters over in this comic doing these R-rated perverse things. Same thing with what he did is he put all the DC comics in the back of the store. And the Marvel comics, you come in the store, Marvel comics along the wall. The very back is he placed DC in the back. And that got written up in the Comics Journal, and people were, thought different things about it. At the time, I thought, freedom of speech and everything. But now I'm on Buddy Saunders' side now that I realize I'm a little smarter now in my old age. And then he hired a little old lady as a greeter, kind of like a Walmart greeter. So you'd come in the front door, and there'd be a little old lady there, like, hi, how are you? And then they'd have the kids' comics up front, the Archie and little toys. And then you'd move back a little bit, and there'd be the Marvel comics, and you go way to the back of the store, there were the DC. So he wanted to create a family experience. When you come in, you're greeted by an elderly lady, makes it all seem all right. You're coming into grandma's place. I thought that was kind of fucked up and at the time, and funny. But now I realized what he was going through. As the industry changed, he just didn't like it. And I don't like change either. And so ultimately, he had the Marvel up front, and then Marvel starts doing that stuff, that Marvel Knight stuff, where you see the Punisher pulling people's teeth out and drilling into the just horrible dental torture porn. And then Marvel was doing it too. And then what is he? But I kind of almost lost interest. Lone Star Comics at a certain point. It was probably early 90s. They took all the collector's comics out of the store, and they started their, maybe it was mid-90s, whenever the internet became a thing. He realized, okay, I'm going to do a mail order business. And then ultimately he shut down his brick and mortar stores and started doing just mail order. But I wanted to go into the store, and I wanted to look at the comics, old comics. That's what I was really there for. And when they disappeared, then I wasn't as excited about any of that anymore. So I've told you that story before a million times. And that was my local comic store. There really wasn't. Well, actually there was. Duncanville Books has always been there, but I just kind of forgot about that because it's quite a drive down the highway into almost Dallas, and it's not really the best town. Yeah, I think it's safe around that particular store, but it's not really, to me. Duncanville is a little iffy. And anyway, so what can I say? Now I understand Buddy Saunders was a great guy, and you can look up Buddy Saunders on YouTube. There's a great panel discussion at this Dallas Fantasy Fair a few years ago that nobody came to this Fantasy Fair except brilliant industry professionals were there but not many humans came. And it wasn't long, maybe, I don't know. I guess it was very expensive to park, for one thing. But there was some good stuff at that con. But just wasn't like the old days when the old Fantasy Fair. But there's a great panel discussion he's on. But you'll also see where he's up in front of the city council complaining about the red light cameras. And he's really takes on these assholes that are... So, you know, he was my hero in the summer of '77 when he opened that comic store. And then I thought he was kind of annoying when he took the old comics out. So I remember in the '80s, I'd go through the old comics, and back then they didn't have backing boards in the collector's comics. So you could flip it over and look at the back and get a sense of how clean the comic was by how white the back cover was, and then you could see, because I remember they must have had a buy around that time when I was buying all my Fantastic Fours and stuff, where someone had some moisture or water damage, and I could see, okay, this one's had water damage. But if I just saw a photo of that online, I wouldn't have been able to tell that it had water damage. I had to actually examine the comic. But I know that mycomicshop.com is very good at grading. They undergrade the comic. You know, you'll get the comic and it'll be in better condition than they said it was. They're very meticulous and careful, and they send the stuff to you and packaged so carefully. They're just wonderful, you know. And so I've just the highest of praise for Buddy Saunders. But there was a time period I went through there where I thought, yeah, that dirty, because I thought he was there censoring, you know. And, there might have been, there were some the books that he didn't carry too, and I had to drive to the other side of Dallas to comic stores to, like the Greg Theakston Betty Page's magazine. That you had to go to just the right comic stores that had the, like this, that Pantella Prim. Where was that? This thing would never have been carried in Lone Star Comics, but there were these stores that carried that stuff. They usually had little back rooms. In the 90s, that's when all those TNA comics became big. Yeah. Shit. God damn it. So, I don't know. So it's Wednesday night. I need to go downstairs. We just got a cheesecake that was, we're going to kind of celebrate our anniversary tonight instead of last night, because we finally got the cheesecake that we're supposed to, it's like a real expensive. My wife ordered it. It's like from some place in New York. It's supposed to be the best cheesecake in the world. It's like real expensive. Like, I think it's almost $50 or something, but it's like a big deal for our anniversary. And so it's supposed to be like the best cheesecake you'll ever taste in your life. So we'll see. Yeah. So let me show you a little bit closer here. So like, this is what I'm talking about. Those were, if you got a cup that small with a drink in it today, you just think that was ridiculously small, but in 1975 it wasn't. So turn off my stereo. Yeah, this is the setup. I put this cardboard box from Aldi, and then I had that light there on top, and then I was sitting there in that green chair. That's how I was, that's my tripod, ladies and gentlemen. I need to get more sophisticated, I think, in how I film these episodes. So let me take this stack of comics down the hall, where I'll put them into put the stuff into the underground boxes. But yeah. Hold on. Sorry. Drop the phone, ladies and gentlemen. But I caught it by the electrical cord. Hopefully that didn't make you dizzy. Oh, shit. Okay. The cats are out here waiting to come back into the room, wondering why they've been shut out. Okay. Well, what an exciting day, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we watched Dracula AD 1972 and Network, are the two last movies we watched. And I suppose my wife wants to watch more vampire movies. And so we'll see. But until next time, be seeing you.